Can you guys hear me?
Welcome, everyone.
Ian Manzi. Here. Jay Mason. Maria Sheehy.
Here.
Oh, gotcha. Benjamin Opara. Erica Harvey.
Here.
John Haley. Paul St. Cyr. Representative Vanna Howard. Kendrick Delorbe.
Here.
Janica Lang.
Here.
It's good.
I have 13. We have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
All right, great. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, hopefully everybody got a chance to review the minutes of the previous meeting. Can we get a vote to approve those minutes? Mr. Underwood? So moved. Minutes approved. Next item on the agenda, the presentation of Suffolk and Skanska Pana. No Pana.
Mr. Lyons will go through Suffolk's portion here.
You need a minute to catch your breath, Mr. Lyon?
I'll take a second.
Mr. Chairman,
Senator Kennedy?
Either.
I'm going to
Yeah.
text Connor.
Senator, can you hear me? All right. Technical difficulties.
I sent Connor a text that we can't hear the meeting from the Zoom.
okay.
Am I in?
Nobody's down there.
Huh?
Can you hear us? Anybody on the Zoom?
I do now.
I can hear you now.
I can hear me.
It's because this is picking up the audio that's, just us hearing our voices. I guess we'll have to speak up. Should we not use these? That's for the broadcast. So we need to use it for the broadcast so that they can hear us at home and for the recording. Can you hear us here okay?
Yes.
We can
Yes.
hear me.
Yeah. Connor, did you get us all on the roll call?
We have enough for a quorum, and people on the Zoom voted. I mean, they
Yeah.
were present.
Well, you heard us.
We did.
Yeah, we can hear you just fine, Senator.
Okay.
How about myself?
And we voted
Bill
to
Samara?
approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Hello?
Motion to approve.
Oh, we have,
Mr. Samaras.
Mayor Samaras.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Mayor Samaras, we hear you. We're
Okay.
marking you as present.
Sean, can you hear me? This is Rob Howard.
I can hear you, Rep. Howard.
Okay.
So we voted for the minutes to be approved. We're almost ready to kick it to Suffolk and Skanska for their presentation. Are we all caught up?
Okay.
Okay.
Did you hear me for the roll call? Because I did say yes.
Yes, we did, Rep. Howard.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lyons?
Thank you. So in our first slide, present and looking forward, we have Phase 3, West Campus, that's going to be wrapping up for turnover at the end of this summer. And then Phase 3, East Campus, which is the 1922 and 1995 edition of A building. That is the portion of Phase 3 that is extended to be turned over during the winter break 2025. And then following the Phase 3, last phase of the turnover on the East Campus, that'll be the start of Phase 4, as shown here in the illustration, which is a little easier to follow. And then, as you can see, the baseline is shown in that top row of the actually, wait, that's not there. Sorry. I'm sorry. In this slide, it's just illustrating the east-west campus that I was just referring to. So, concluding, after this summer, we are confined to the East Campus for the remaining of time of Phase 3 and then for Phase 4.
Then if we, next slide.
And in this slide, showing the final fall turnover prior to the 2027 school year in August, this is showing that the entire project is completed, including all of the landscape, hardscape areas.
And in following summers on the 1980 side of the canal, we will have some summer work, clearing up some landscaping and some temporary conditions where the new freshman academy will be. Moving through the costs for the slab basement, this is what was presented to the city council on June 24th. I think as everyone was aware, there was an original number in early June of 47 million. We got that down to 39.85 million. If we can go to the next slide. Basically encompasses the 1922 building slab basement. The Phase 3 slab basement has already been contracted for and the work has been performed. The Phase 4 section of the 1922 slab basement, we have estimated at around $800,000. We've paid approximately $950,000 for the Phase 3 work. So the actual slab costs $1.75 million. The schedule extension, we have estimated about $25.1 million. And as we'll get into later in the presentation, the contingency, which we are running quite low on, and estimate that will be depleted by the first of the year, a total of an additional $13 million in contingency replenishment for change orders through the remainder of the project. Moving on to the next schedule, a detailed breakdown of this is presented here with subcontractors OPM, architect, construction manager Suffolk, as well as the contingency. The construction contingency there, that includes the slab, that's where we're paying that out of, that's why that is 14.75. The previous presentation was just to simplify it down to 3 numbers for presentation's sake. Moving on, next to the construction update. These photos here are one example of, people say, the unforeseen conditions. This wall here, you've got about 10, 15 feet of wall and 4 or 5 different wall conditions. This is an example of what we're running into in the 1922 building and the challenges that we are facing. And it's one thing to say we're seeing unforeseen conditions, but a picture definitely tells a story. And we've got some more photos if you advance, Mr. Baldwin. Another example of all the types of several renovations over the years, all types of wall types and building materials, and this is what's being encountered. If you can move on, another example. Another example there. We'll move and another one in the auditorium. What you're looking at is the cross section there when we're cutting open the walls to get ductwork in there. Extremely challenging conditions. Move on to the SBC questions.
Jim, I have one. If the slab was under $2 million to fix, and if it was fixed in a timely fashion, would the 25 million not be needed for the time extension? And the second question would be, how did we so underestimate contingency needs? It's just mind-boggling when we knew we had to do 2 renovations that we saw all these unforeseen conditions to the tune of an additional 13 million above where we were.
The standard contingency for new construction is 3%. Standard contingency within the industry for renovations is 5%. Knowing that this would be, that there could be some challenges within this, we carried 7% contingency for a renovation, which is way above the industry norm. We carried $21.2 million in contingency, which was thought to be more than sufficient. We're currently running at a rate, while we're in the 1922 building, of 12.5% contingency usage rate. The forecast that we utilized in the additional contingency is based on the scope remaining in the 1922 and the 1892 of a contingency burn rate of 12.5%. The other way we put that contingency together was Suffolk, Perkins, Eastman, and Skanska all sat down and we went trade by trade through what we anticipate could possibly be changes in the remainder of the job, and we came out at around $12 million, which is where we ended up with the $12.5 million plus the safety factor got us to 14.75.
Any other questions on the presentation so far?
I have a question, if you don't mind.
Mr. Underwood?
An easy one. On Exhibit A, on the existing walls, do we know what those walls were originally and why we have 4 different sections of walls? Looks like
That was behind plaster in the mechanical room in the basement, and also where there's a shaft there where the new elevator is going. In the mechanical room on the Kirk Street side of the 1922 basement.
and none of that showed up on any of the the former blueprints?
None of that showed up on the existing drawings. And when you're taking down plaster and you find all types of wall types and the plaster comes down, so it was not readily apparent. It's not that we didn't open doors and stick our head above walls. A lot of it was behind plaster.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Dodd, you want to continue with the SBC questions?
Yes, so
I
we,
have a question.
Senator Kennedy?
Chairman? Yeah, when you talked about the 4 different walls just now, you made it sound like it was a surprise. But when you first did an assessment of the 22 building, did anybody look at the walls then? What were you expecting the walls to be like?
we did look at the walls. All of that was hidden behind an inch of plaster. So they did take down plaster and look for wall types, but they didn't take down plaster wholesale. And you can't take that down until you get into the demo, a wholesale removal, and that's when this was revealed.
Any other questions?
So when they took down part of it, what did they find? What were they expecting the rest of the wall to look like?
Perkins Eastman will address that question.
Hi, where we took down plaster, we found masonry, which is consistent with other areas. We didn't, by not going every foot or so, didn't see the variety of masonry and its condition. But we expected masonry, we saw masonry. The wall composition as a whole is varied through the wall.
Okay, so it makes me think that you didn't take down very much of the plaster on the walls. Is there a reason why you didn't take very much down? I mean, the building's 100 years old.
So we were sensitive that it was an occupied school and we needed them to continue to operate. So we were limited to what we felt we should take down.
Hi, this is John Haley. Was there an allowance amount in the construction manager's budget for these unforeseen conditions with regards to the walls, knowing you weren't able to take much down?
Mr. Dowd?
There were some allowances, but the allowances were limited, and the reliance was on the owner contingency.
I don't know about everybody else. I've lost the sound again.
I didn't hear anything, but I have a question also.
You can't hear anything, Bill?
No, I'm not hearing anything.
Okay, got it.
I can't hear anything either.
Neither can I.
It was back on, kicked off, I guess.
Can everybody on the Zoom hear us now? Oh, maybe it'll take a sec. Hello? Can anybody hear us on the Zoom?
I
We can hear you now.
Okay, the cord, well, I'm not sure what happened, but I think we're back in business now.
I also have a question too.
I don't think anybody heard the answer to Mr. Haley's question.
Mr. Dowd, can you repeat the answer to Mr. Haley's question?
The allowances, we primarily relied on owner contingency. There was not a vast amount of allowances.
Okay.
Any other
I
questions?
have a question.
Is that Senator Kennedy?
No, Samara.
Oh, Mayor Samaras, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. The thing is, in a follow-up to Senator Kennedy's question, I want to go back to when this project was put out to bid. The one thing that these companies presented to us was that present day, more construction is really done with some new construction and some renovation. Renovation is now part of today's world of work. And so that led us with the expectation that there's an understanding of how to deal with renovation in a proper fashion. My concern is, at the beginning, there was talk that the inspections that were made were thorough and met the needs of the project. Now all of a sudden, we only went in 1 inch or this or that. I have a hard time following that when there's an expectation that this is a 100-year-old building undergoing reconstruction. If you look in Boston, many buildings, much older, have gone through much worse and have been able to be successfully developed. We seem to be in a place where there is no success. At every point, there's some type of obstacle for us to meet the needs. And I have a concern with that. I have a concern that there was not an adequate study of what had to be done to deal with the renovation. That's my concern. That will be my concern.
Okay, moving on to.
Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Bahu.
Mr. Dowd, thank you for all you do. I know this is difficult. It's difficult for all of us. You discussed when you do new construction, it's a 3% contingency fund, and if you're doing a renovation, it's generally 5%, and you guys sort of earmarked 7% for yourself. So you earmarked extra, knowing that it's an older building and it's, you're going to run into some issues. However, you're currently, the building project is currently at 12.5% rate, which in tune, when I watch the city council meeting, is essentially $1 million a month. Now, what makes you think it's going to be an extra $1 million a month for the 13 months that we're delayed? Because it seems like, you've done your homework on getting this job completed in a time by the middle of 2026. However, we're delayed by a year, and you're anticipating it's going to be, my guess is another 12.5% per month, which is essentially 3 times more than average.
It's calculated based on the amount of scope remaining, not by the month. So it's 12.5% of the remaining scope was the way we calculated it. And the second way we calculated it was via going, as I stated, we sat down for 3 hours, had a whole list of all the scope categories by CSI division, and went one by one and anticipated what that would be. That number came out in approximately the same amount, which was our check.
Isn't this whole project, wasn't that 7% built into this whole project? I mean, you stated that we didn't put enough money in contingency, but you did increase that number by average by 2%, and 2% of $375 million
That's correct, and it
is an awful lot of money.
It is proving to be insufficient.
So the calculations were not good enough, and now you're basically saying that we're going to need to carry that 12.5%, or realistically an extra $1 million per month. Is that correct?
When we're not going by month, is not the way that we're calculating. We feel that the additional contingency that is being requested, the whole team has reviewed that and feel that that's an appropriate amount for the remainder of the project.
And if the funds, and if it was funded at a less amount of, let's say, 7%, and you began going over, could you go back to the city council and ask for more?
I believe so.
So it may be beneficial where we can maybe find some cost savings, and then begin to and reduce this contingency request of $13 million to roughly $7 million, and begin to really try to find some value engineering or some cost-cutting measures that could realistically be a little advantageous to the taxpayer who's biting a very big bullet on this project.
I think the way we're proceeding and with the design we have and with the agreements that we have with the MSBA to We've looked and there are no cutting options there with the requirements we have to meet with the design that has been approved. And if we don't spend the money, it goes back to the city. But I don't think it would be prudent to have less contingency going forward.
Sure, and I understand that, but realistically, it would be nice, because we understand that the money goes back to the city. However, to the city, for basically the city residents to know that you're being prudent in the sense of all the work that you're doing, because we are talking 12.5%, where the state average is 5%, and we've already adjusted for 7%. So we've already adjusted a higher number, and now we're asking for another 12.5% per month.
Correct.
Which is, pretty expensive to the taxpayers. And who knows
Correct,
if it's going to
and
be.
we are proceeding prudently. I can tell you every change order, and I've said it to the city council, I've said it here, is thoroughly reviewed, pushed back. I can tell you Suffolk can certainly attest to that these things are far from being rubber stamped. There is pushback, month change orders take months to review, and we go through sometimes 3-4 iterations that we reject, we send it back, we get it back at a lesser amount. I can promise you we are advocating extremely strongly on behalf of the city.
Thank you. But the big deal is Suffolk trade total was $20,500,000. And, I'm hearing Skanska say, realistically, we need another $13 million for all the extra overruns.
The $25 million is still under negotiation. That is not an absolute number. We're still working on knocking that number down.
And would love to see the contingency knocked down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Dowd, you want to proceed with the SBC question?
We had SBC questions emailed to us on June 26th. The first question, Perkins Eastman will address.
Hi, the question was, where is the location of the Keegan Memorial Stone? We have a proposed location. I've reached out to the family to arrange a meeting and discuss it for their to see and to respond to. So that is the status on that.
Next question is regarding updates to the city website. We have worked with the vendor for the city's website over the last month and a half. There's a new website for the project, which we are finalizing the details on, and the launch date for the new website is July 30th. Next questions are two designer questions.
Mr. Chairman, if I may just add one thing.
Mr. Baldwin, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Dowd. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to make a note that we had a request from the public to post the presentations for the agenda. It's a little hard to read up on the screen and sometimes on LTC. So our practice now is to post these on the Lowell High School project website in advance of the meetings, in the event that the public wants to view them along with the meeting.
And we did distribute 48 hours in advance as requested.
Yes, and the project team's been great working on that.
Ms. Greenberg?
There was a question about the windows in the east building and why the 1990 section looks different than the 1920s. The design of the elevation was done in collaboration with the Lowell Historic, and they felt that it told a story if the windows were of the keeping of how they looked when they were originally built. So the 1920s section is white and has muddins. The 1990s does not, because that's the keeping of the 1990s. You'll see also that when we do phase 4, the 1890 section will also look different in color because we're using photos to have it look as it was when it was built.
Next question was regarding the design of the foundation drain.
The status of the foundation drain is we're actively working with DPW and wastewater on a design and how we're going to connect to current and proposed systems in the street.
Yeah, can I ask a question on that? But why are we so far in the game when this was a concern by other public citizens? Why is it so late in the game that this design is just happening now?
Ms. Greenberg?
So during design and investigations at that time, when we heard of water in the basement, we learned that it was pipes underneath the slab having backflow, and which we're addressing because replacing all the pipes and so forth. The foundations was not a known leak. After design was done, then we learned of some active problems, and we were, addressed an immediate issue right then, and then we continue to work with it as we're in phase 4.
Yeah, that still doesn't answer my question, though. You're 5+ years into the project and you're still doing design?
We're responding to conditions as they come up when they're known in construction.
All right, I just think that's wrong because you're just opening yourself up for more change order, change conditions. So you should have designed that at the beginning. You knew it was a problem.
Construction questions?
Mr. Lyons, will floors 1, 2, and 3 be completed in the 1922 building in August?
So no, floors 3, 2, and 1, 2, 3 are not going to be completed by August. Next question was, if not, and why? So with all the unforeseens on floors 1, 2, and 3 in A building, we were running at the time of, I'd say, January, February, we were running 12 to 14 weeks behind schedule due to all the unforeseens that we've previously talked about. Mechanicals had to get redesigned due to the structure. So due to those unforeseens, before the slab was known, the only way to gain back those lost weeks of the 12 to 14 was to expedite, to work overtime. And then when the slab came up and the whole schedule got pushed to be turned over in the winter break of the 1922-95 building, it was discussed with the city, with Skanska, and there was no reason to expedite the work on 3, 2, and 1, knowing that the basement was going to, the finish date of the basement was going to get pushed through to the end of the year. Due to life safety, fire alarm, all of those conditions, there was no reason to expedite or to spend the money when the money could be spent on tackling the unforeseens that we deal with every day.
So those delays in schedule are all attributed to unforeseen conditions?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when you say the city, is that the administration or the school department or?
I'm not specific to who or what departments, but I say the city as our client, and working with Skanska on a daily basis. It's a very fluid situation, and there's no good reason to spend money to finish something unless you're going to get value out of finishing it, and the value would be the turnover. And because the turnover for the building A was pushed to winter break, it made more sense to continue the sequential completion of the floors.
But
line up
now
with that
you're
turnover.
doubling up on supervision, right? Because now you got to supervise that work plus new work?
Nope. Same staff, same supervision.
Okay, all right, so we should see a credit then for that. Okay,
Well, I don't understand the statement. A credit for what?
when we look at the schedule further, we can talk about it then.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mr. Underwood, you have a question? Mr. Byrne?
Jim, this, or the team, you mentioned on the summary of the additional budget in 1922 building, it adds up to 39,850,000, right?
Correct.
So the contingency replenishment of 13 million, that's 30% of that 39 million. And I just have, what's the difference between that slide and the revised additional costs where you have a construction contingency? Is this the 14.7 versus 13?
It was for presentation purposes to break out the basement slab. The number is within the 14.75, the 1.75 and the 13 make up the 14.75. I was asked to break it out because there was some confusion, because basically the question that was being presented was, why is a basement floor costing us $40 million? And the answer is, it's not. It's 1.75, but here's where the other costs are coming from.
Right. So even with that, wouldn't the contingencies higher than 12%, isn't it? If 14 million versus the 39.
It's 12.5% of the total remaining scope.
Okay,
It's the scope to put in place, not the additional we're requesting.
okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
One more question.
Mr. Underwood?
The biggest problem everybody's having here is with the extension, the $25 million. I know I spoke, or questioned how we could get in there sooner, and it was, it wasn't doable because of the tie-ins, but how long will do we know how long the move is gonna take? I mean, we obviously can't do it in a week's vacation, but do we know how long a total move would take? Rather than, in other words, we know the work is gonna be done, we're expecting the work to be done half that school year, but yet we're not gonna be able to do the move until the summer break because of the 10 weeks. Do we know, does it take the whole 10 weeks? Could we carve, I guess that my question would be to the superintendent or the public, can we carve time out of school breaks to make the move and cut some off of this 25 million?
The current schedule we're presented with has the construction running out to May. We're working with
So
Suffolk.
you're really
on
only
that.
saving 2 months?
Correct.
On that, okay. Gotcha.
Did we complete the construction questions?
We now have punch list question. We have a slide at the end of this we'll address. Warranties, O&Ms, and maintenance schedules. I think it's basically the same question for all. I believe if Suffolk will address that. The warranties, O&Ms.
Oh, so going down the list, the punch list currently, we have 60 items for Phase 1 and Phase 2, 4 items from Phase 1, 56 from Phase 2. All of those items are scheduled and are planned to be completed before the end of the summer. As far as the warranties, presently, per the specifications, we're handing over all the warranty O&Ms over to Skanska after they've been reviewed and approved by Perkins Eastman, and those being handed over on a flash drive. Also, paper copies.
They're actually being delivered directly to DPW
DPW
facilities.
Yep. Sorry, and you can confirm that as well. You have received those.
Received some.
Yep.
Yeah, as I told you earlier today, I'm not sure how much we have, and I didn't get to talk to Paul. I don't know if Phase 1.
Phase 1 and
Phase 1 is
Phase
done.
1 and Phase 2, my understanding is have been turned over in the complete O&Ms, including
Correct.
PDFs on flash drives. There's access. Mark, you and Paul have access on Procore, and there's also and hard copies have been provided also.
And that's for the warranties, the O&Ms, and then within the O&Ms also include the maintenance schedules. And yes, there was another question. It is in a format that's easily transferred to any other system or platform that the city chooses. And I believe that covers O&Ms, as-built. Yeah, maintenance schedules. Is there anything else that we need clarification on?
What questions they provided? Okay, let's move to budget summary.
Moving on to the budget summary. The construction contingencies I spoke of earlier is down to $4.9 million. Through 35 change orders to date, we've spent $16.2 million of $21.2 million. Pending change requests, not including the $39 million with that we're speaking of, the individual change requests that we have currently being processed, that are known, are at 6.4 million, which is why we are predicting that we will be out of contingency by the first of the year. Moving on to the next slide, Mr. Baldwin. We slide down further. The current bill for all things put in place in the month of June was $6.1 million. We've billed $284 million to date. With the MSBA, we've received payments in the amount of $178 million, and there is a $25.9 million request currently pending with the MSBA that check should be issuing any day to the city from the MSBA. Moving on to the next slide, I believe the next item in the agenda is establishing a next SBC meeting.
We could do
Mr.
Thursday,
Bahu, questions?
14.
Ask a couple of questions about these SBC summaries sheets, so if you could pass over that microphone. It looks like in your logistics page, 1980s building, stair J, K, and L are being extended to late August before occupancy. Are we still expected to occupy that building for the school year and have everything moved in without any issues? There will be no delays based on these staircases?
Correct. Those staircases, when it speaks to August, by the start of school, they will be usable. Was that the question?
Sure, they're
I'm
being
sorry.
used, but it's not going to delay the opening or the occupancy permit or us
No.
moving everything in.
No, not at
So
all.
we can expect that the students can walk through that building and have their classes, and there would be no issues, and have the cafeteria working.
Correct. Yep.
All of it.
Correct.
Okay, that's great. And then the second question is based on the Chapter 74 discussion. It looks like, we'd like to start some Chapter 74 programs, and I know we're trying to retrofit a room that is currently in the 1980s building to have IT programming in, and we need some electrical upgrades to go ahead and operate all the computers and such like that. Is that going to create a delay? We're working with DESI to go ahead and get the Chapter 74 approved, but we need that that room or those rooms outfitted in order to run the proper electrical and technology speed. So is there an issue with that? It looks like in these notes there may be.
The room we met with Mr. Fiato this morning. The room they're currently looking at is, we believe, is outfitted correctly. It was originally assigned with the MSBA and DESI for other use. We have to speak with the MSBA and DESI about revising the assigned use of that room to the Chapter 74 program, and we have a plan to move forward with that. We were supposed to meet with the MSBA earlier this week. There was some conflicts. That meeting has gotten moved to next week to discuss the Chapter 74 programs with the MSBA.
Okay, because your last sentence says that changing this could prove to be complicated. So it sounds like we're working on it.
We're working on it.
And
It's not an easy process, but we're working on
And
it.
it's progressing. And there's nothing added that we need in those rooms to really delay.
Not that we know of right now.
Terrific, thank you.
Any other questions?
They're also looking to start that program occupying that space in a year.
That is correct. That is correct. I just, want to make sure that everything is progressing well, and I know that room that we're looking to start the IT programming in needs to be retrofitted, and, ultimately Skanska and Suffolk and Perkman's Eastman is ultimately doing this work, so we just need to make sure all the ducks are lined up properly.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions before we move to the next agenda item?
I just have one other question, backing up for a second. I forgot to ask because I wanted clarification. With regards to the slab in phase 3 and 4, that includes the Coben Hall, correct? Slab?
Yes, we're talking about replacing the 1890s slab.
All right, so that cost and everything's already included? No. Okay, thank you.
The 1.75 only includes the 1922. Coburn Hall would be out of another portion of that contingency.
Any other questions? Our next SBC meeting tentatively will shoot for August 14th. Next step.
Okay.
Mr. Dowd?
Next steps are Suffolk's full court press on the 1980s building to get CVO for the start of school, as Mr. Lyons just discussed, and also progressing for a Christmas open of the Phase 3 section of the 1922 building. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Need a vote to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. Thank you all.